Deuteronomy Chapter 28.
And it will be, if you will listen diligently to the voice of Yahweh your Father, by observing and doing all his laws which I command you this day, that Yahweh your Father will set you high above all the nations on earth, and all these blessings will come upon you and accompany you, because you obey Yahweh your Father. Blessed will you be in the city, and blessed will you be in the country. Blessed will be the fruit of your body, the produce of your ground, and the young of your livestock, the calves of your herds, and the lambs of your flocks. Blessed will be your basket and your storehouse. Blessed will you be when you come in, and blessed will you be when you go out. Yahweh will cause your enemies who rise up against you to be defeated in front of you. They will come out against you from one direction, but will flee from you in 7 directions. Yahweh will send a blessing on your barns and storehouses, and in everything you set your hand to do. Yahweh will bless you in the land which Yahweh your Father is giving you. Yahweh will establish you as his holy people unto himself, as he promised you on oath, if you will keep the laws of Yahweh your Father and walk in all his ways. Then all the people on the earth will see that you are called by the name of Yahweh, and they will fear you. Yahweh will grant you plenteous possessions in the fruit of your body, in the increase of your livestock, and in the produce of your ground, in the land Yahweh vowed on oath to your forefathers to give you. Yahweh will open the heavens, the storehouse of his bountiful treasure, to send rain upon your land in its season, and to bless all the work of your hands. You will lend to many nations, but you will borrow from none. Yahweh will make you the head and not the tail. You will be at the top only and never be at the bottom. If you will pay attention to the laws of Yahweh your Father, which I command you this day, and are then careful to observe and do them, then you will not turn aside from any of the laws which I command you this day, to the right hand nor to the left, by going after any god El to serve it. However, if you do not obey Yahweh your Father, and do not carefully follow all his laws and his statutes, which I command you this day, then all these curses will come upon you and accompany you. Cursed will you be in the city, and cursed will you be in the country. Cursed will be your basket and your storehouse. Cursed will be the fruit of your body, the produce of your land, the calves of your herds, and the lambs of your flocks. Cursed will you be when you come in, and cursed will you be when you go out. Yahweh will send upon you curses, confusion, and rebuke in everything you put your hand to do, until you are destroyed and come to sudden ruin, because of the wickedness you have done in forsaking me. Yahweh will make the plagues cling to you until he has destroyed you from the land you are entering to possess. Yahweh will strike you with consumption, with a fever, with an inflammation, with scorching heat, with the sword, with blasting, and with mildew, and they will stay with you until you perish. And the heaven that is over your heads shall be brass, and the land under you shall be iron. Yahweh shall make the rain of your land powder and dust. From heaven it shall come down upon you until you are destroyed. Yahweh will cause you to be defeated before your enemies. You will go out in one direction against them, and flee in 7 directions in front of them. You will be an awe-inspiring spectacle to all the kingdoms of the earth. Your carcasses will be food for all the birds of the air and the beasts of the earth, and there will be no one to frighten them away. Yahweh will afflict you with the disease of Egypt, with tumors, with festering sores, and the itch from which you cannot be healed. Yahweh will afflict you with madness, spiritual blindness, and confusion of mind, and you shall grope at noonday. Just as a blind man gropes in darkness, you will not be successful in any of your ways. You will only be oppressed and robbed continually, with no one to rescue you. You will be betrothed to be married to a woman, but another will take her and sleep with her. You will build a house, but you will not live in it. You will plant a vineyard, but you will not gather its grapes. Your ox will be slaughtered in front of your eyes, but you will not eat any of it. Your donkey will be forcibly taken away from you, and it will not be returned. Your sheep will be given to your enemies, and no one will rescue them. Your sons and daughters will be given to another nation while you are looking on, and you will be powerless to lift a hand to stop it. A nation whom you have not known will eat the fruit of your land and the produce of your labor, and you will have nothing but crushing oppression. In this way you will be driven mad because of the things you have seen. Yahweh will afflict your knees and legs with a severe inflammation which cannot be healed, spreading from the sole of your foot to the top of your head. Yahweh will bring you and the king whom you set over you to a nation which neither you nor your fathers have ever heard of, and there you will worship gods of wood and stone, and you will become a thing of horror, a taunt, and the object of biting remarks among all nations where Yahweh will drive you. You will sow much seed in the field, but you will harvest little, because the locusts will consume it. You will plant vineyards and cultivate them, but you will not drink the wine, nor gather the grapes, because the worms shall eat them. You will have olive trees throughout your country, but you will not use the oil, because your olives will drop off. You will beget sons and daughters, but you will not keep them, because they will go into captivity. Swarms of locusts will consume all your trees and the produce of your land. The stranger who lives among you will rise above you, higher and higher, but you will sink lower and lower. He will lend to you, but you will not lend to him. He will be the head, and you will be the tail. Moreover, all these curses will come upon you, and will pursue you, and will overtake you, until you are destroyed, because you did not obey the voice of Yahweh your Father, to keep his laws and his statutes, which he commanded you. And these curses shall be upon you, and on your descendants forever, for a sign and for a wonder, because you did not serve Yahweh your Father joyfully and with gladness of heart in your time of great abundance. Therefore you will serve your enemies, whom Yahweh will send against you, in hunger, in thirst, in nakedness, and in dire need of everything. And he will put a yoke of iron on your neck, until he has destroyed you. Yahweh will bring a nation against you from far away, from the end of the earth, like an eagle swooping down, a nation whose language you will not understand, a fierce-looking nation which has no respect for the old, nor pity for the young. They will devour the young of your livestock and the crops of your land until you are destroyed. They will leave you without grain, without new wine, without oil, and without the calves of your herds or the lambs of your flocks, until you are destroyed. Throughout your land they will lay siege to all your cities, until your high fortified walls, which you trust in, come falling down. They will besiege you in all your cities, throughout all the land Yahweh your Father has given you. You will eat the fruit of your own body, the meat of your sons and of your daughters, whom Yahweh your Father has given you, because of the suffering your enemy will inflict upon you during the siege. The man among you, who previously was the most soft-hearted and generous, will then have no compassion for his brother, for the wife whom he loves, or for any of his surviving children, and he will not give them any of the meat of the children he is eating. It will be all he has left, because of the suffering your enemy will inflict upon you during the siege of all your cities. The most gentle and delicate woman among you, who would not venture to touch the dirt with the bottom of her foot, since she is so soft and delicate, will then begrudge the husband she loves, and her own son and daughter, the afterbirth from her womb, and the children she bears, for she intends to eat them secretly during the siege and the distress which your enemy will inflict upon you in your cities. If you do not carefully observe and do all the words of the law that are written in this book, in order that you may reverence this glorious and reverent name, Yahweh your Father. Then Yahweh will bring upon you and your descendants fearful plagues, harsh and prolonged disasters, and severe and lingering illnesses. He will also bring back upon you all the diseases of Egypt, which you were afraid of, and they will cling to you. Every other sickness and every other disaster, which is not written in this book of the law, Yahweh will also bring upon you until you are destroyed. You will then be left but few in number, when you previously were as numerous as the stars in the sky, simply because you would not obey Yahweh your Father. Just as it pleased Yahweh and gave him joy to make you wealthy and numerous, so it would then please him to bring you to nothing and destroy you. Then you will be uprooted from the land which you are going in to possess, and Yahweh will scatter you among all the nations from one end of the earth to the other. There you will worship gods of wood and stone, which neither you nor your fathers have known. Among those nations you will find no place of repose, nor will the bottom of your foot find a place to rest. But there Yahweh will give you a desperate heart, eyes weary with longing, and an anxious, tortured, and restless mind. Your life will hang like a weak thread in front of you, and you shall fear day and night that every moment may be your last. In the morning you will say, "Oh, if it were only evening!" And in the evening you will say, "Oh, if it were only morning!" Because of the terror that will fill your hearts, and because of the sights you will see with your own eyes, Yahweh will bring you back to Egypt by ship, on a journey I said that you should never make again. There you will offer yourselves for sale as male and female slaves to your enemies, but no one will buy you.